I can have one of those amplifiers brand new, probably in about a week and a half.
You're kidding. The Mercury Lux?
Not the Mercury Lux, the Mercury, what is it? The Mercury 100 or the Mercury 11? The other one. They only make two, the Mercury Lux and the other one. Mercury Lux is the 1500 watt version, and the other one is the 1200 watt version. Here's the kicker. I could get it brand new in about a week and a half, but no warranty.
That's great. Matt's a crackerjack on that. I'll give it to him in a minute. From the guy in Florida. Al, the 80B, because I got some information for you. 3-500Z tube. They want $275 shipped from Penta Tubes. I got the phone number if you want it. 500Z, one tube, and it does 1,000 on sideband and 800 on CW. And they want $275. Over.
Yeah, I already looked, Frank, but I think I'm going to go with the tube that Lance was telling me about. It seems to be a better tube, although I hope I still have the information that I was saving on the computer. Here's the story with the other amp, Frankie. A guy bought it, brand new, had to wait a year for it to come in, got impatient, so while he was waiting, he bought the other amp from Australia that everyone talks about. He bought that amp, and now the Mercury amp came in, and he already has the other amp, so he wants to sell it. It's brand new. The only problem is the warranty is not transferable. He sells it to me, you no longer have the warranty. So if I'm going to buy it, I'm going to pay full price, but I'm not going to get the warranty. But then I won't have to wait a year for it to come in. Now, the good thing is, I looked on their website, and they don't charge you any labor, even when it's out of warranty. They only charge you parts, so I don't know. I got to make up my mind, but I don't have a lot of time to make up my mind. I got 1 week to let them know if I want it or not.
Hey, so Al, I've been running the 3 here for about 3 years, and I run mine pretty hard. Actually, I just sent you an email, and in that email, there is a link to a YouTube video where you can hear your it's actually a live now. And I mean, I run mine with FT8 all day long. And when I say all day, I mean, I'll be sitting here for 8 hours, 9 hours straight, running it with 600 watts at FT bands. This thing has never had a single hitch, not one. I built mine as a kit. I've built quite a few others for other hams around as a kit before they were, made to order. You won't have no issues. I've talked to Kenny a few times, and yes, you're right. He does not charge labor, only parts for out of warranty, or even if you abused it, he only charges you. I mean, unless you go throwing, way too much power on the input, it's fine. I mean, at high SWR, it'll kick off, but the actual LD MOS isn't really going to pop from high SWR. I mean, these things handle that the filters will go into thermal and melt down, but the actual LD MOS unit, those things can handle 300 to 1 SWR.
Yeah, I heard that things are built real good. I didn't see the only thing that kind of scared me about it, here's the thing, I'm buying it off of him. I don't know the guy personally. Although I looked him up and stuff, he's been a ham for a long time. I mean, you don't have to wait a year. You get it right in. You don't have to wait a year. So that's a good thing. You actually own the amp. You like the amp?
Yeah, I love it. I used to have the Henry 2K amp, and I sold that and bought this. Honestly, I've never looked back once. This thing, I mean, people say, you know, tubes are all sorts of robust, everything else. I had my antenna drop, my dipole drop on the ground while I was putting out 1,200 watts, and the thing just went bee and went into protect. I was all worried, and sure enough, amp's fine, perfect. I mean, I've had a number of antenna issues and coax issues actually through. And this thing's seen, you know, over 125 watts reflected for that brief moment, probably a couple dozen times by now. Because like I said, I run it for long periods of times. Now I'm running it really close to its max. You know, on my peaks, it's about 1.2 kW. My antenna is mostly horizontal, so right now, you know, in order for Frank to hear me good, I actually blast him pretty hard because of the cross polarization.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm looking at something on my radio that's kind of weird. I don't know why it's doing that. I have to figure. When I key up my mic, my filter is actually changing. That's weird. Well protected. I was looking online. He doesn't mention anything about SWR protection in the amp at all. Is there anything in there, you know, it would just shut down, or are you telling me that it could just handle it?
It will shut down. 125 watts reflected will trigger it, and that's not to because those don't care. It's to protect the filters. The filters will go, you know, will just start arcing with any more than that. But it is thermally protected. It is input protected, but don't trust protection. LD MOS units, that is the one way to kill them. If they ever see even a couple watts too much on the input, they pretty much pop before any protection. And this isn't just a Mercury 3. Any amp with, if you put too much RF into the LD MOS, there isn't a protection circuit out there that can react fast enough. So you just really always got to start off low and, you know, make sure you don't, you know, not too much output power. That triggers a protection. It's fine. But like, let's just say you switch rigs or something and you by accidentally, if you fired 100 watts into the Mercury 3 or the Lux amp, it will burn out in like nanoseconds.
Yeah. Yeah, so you just got to be careful with the input, which I don't really feel, because once I find out what the input is, I'm thinking somewhere between 25 and 40 watts. My radio will never do anything higher. It will get set to that, and that will be it, you know. Now let me ask you, to lower the wattage on the amp, is there any other way short of just lowering the input wattage?
Nope, you just lower the input. Now, on 10 meters, when my output is telling me a peak of 1,300, my input power is giving me a peak of about 4.8 watts. But the max is 40 in the LD MOS in this unit will burn out if it sees more than 40 watts. But you never need 40 watts to get the, you know, the limit of the amp out. Like I said, 7 watts on some of the lower bands, maybe 10, and I'll get 1,300 out.
Oh my God, that's insane. Then you really got to be careful if that's the case.
Well, you see, he's designed them so that they'll work pretty good for like the cheaper QRP rigs. You know, like the 10 watt, like my IC705, and on on like 80 meters, I'm not going to get the full 1300 out of the amp with the 10 watt 705, but I'll at least get 800. So I mean, it's kind of a set the input power, and you can change it. Inside is it's an attenuator. The actual LDMOS unit inside only wants to see a maximum of 1 watt, and so there already is a network on the board for input attenuation, and there's no reason why if you wanted to change the resistor in there, you couldn't and make it a 100 watt input. There's a lot of guys out there or you know, you can change that resistor to however you want it.
Yeah, now let me ask you a question. How about spikes? Any protection against spikes, or do you have to put something in the line before it makes it to the amp?
No, it's fine with that. And honestly, if you were to have any type of like dirty power damage this amp, it's not going to damage the pallet. Inside is basically just a mean well 50 volt power buy off of Amazon for I want to say that power supply runs somewhere about $35 or $40 shipped to your door. A 1-to-1, you know, it's the power supply inside the amp is its own in the amp, and it's not like some custom, you know, no, it's an off-the-shelf 50 volt mean well power supply. If you watch like even all those DIY amp builders, you know, that are running, you know, 110 volt amps, it's the same units. You can actually even use a HP server power supply.
So in other words, you think I'm safe buying this amp, even though it's I'm not getting the warranty? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, like I said, I've had mine for 3 years. I beat mine. I mean, I don't say I beat it, but you know, I never turn it on and have like 200 or 300 watts going out. You know, I just kind of set it and forget it. But then again, a lot of the times I'm working DX or in a group on, you know, 80 meters where some people are, you know, pretty far off. So, yeah, consistently, whenever I have it on, it's outputting a kilowatt. Mine's got hundreds of hours on it, hundreds.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, I can put hundreds of hours on an amp pretty easily. All right, well, let's see. Hopefully, I got this guy's phone number. Hopefully, he's not going to change his mind, and I'll be able to buy it next week. He bought another amp out of Australia or something, and that's the reason he doesn't want this amp. That's the reason he's selling this amp. He actually has two. The old one, and he bought a new one, but then he got tired of waiting for it, so he bought some other amp out of Australia, and it seems like he wants to keep that amp off, so he's going to get rid of this one.
Yeah, those Australian amps are the new rage, and they are really nice amps, but I mean, really, they don't have any cleaner signal. Their efficiency is about the same. I think the one thing that people is they will, you know, get you up over 2 kilowatts. But I mean, I don't know. To me, there's not really any gain over a kilowatt. I mean, you really got to add what? What's the jump you're going to make? 10 kilowatts? Well, now you're so far up above legal limit, it's hard to hide.
No, I agree. 1,000 watts is, even from 1,000 watts to 1,500 watts is, I don't even think it's noticeable.
Hey, Al?
Yes, I'm Frankie.
Don't feel bad. I would go ahead and get it if you really want it. Why? Because you and Kyle, you know Kyle N1YNI, you programmed their radios in East Providence, father and son. You know Kyle, he's a nice boy. He didn't want to wait neither. He didn't want to wait a year, and he bought a used one. He bought a used Mercury. No problem at all. They've been using it the last 6-7 months.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna wait, Frank. If the guy says he does, as soon as he's ready, I'm gonna pull the trigger. I gotta pay full price. But I don't care about paying the full price because the thing's brand new. He says it still has to. He says all he did was turn the thing on and program in his call sign and shut it off. So yeah, no, I'm gonna buy it. I'm not gonna wait. Yeah, Frank, I'm gonna keep the AL80B for AM. And I'll put the new tube in it, but I think I'm going to keep it for AM. Hey, how's those amps on AM? No good, huh?
Yeah, we can go. I've run up to about a 200-watt carrier with it without it complaining at all. You just got to keep the total, the total output power, peaks included, under 700 watts. Temperatures. For one, right now, I'm running a lot of audio processing, a very lot. Enough to where every once in a while it thinks that even though we're on sideband that I'm running AM or digital because of how high my RMS is. I've run it on AM, no problems at all. Low right now, my amp's 30 Celsius. That's only about 5 or 6 degrees Celsius over room temperature, and it makes as much noise as my computer, my desktop computer. It's the amps I've ever sat anywhere near. Right now, I'm not sitting near it. If you do hear any fan in the background, that is my computer, because I operate my radio, amplifier, and antenna tuner, antenna tuner remotely. Those are all downstairs right next to where the coax comes into the house. Everything is attached to the network. The Mercury does not have remote capability. All I operate the power on and off from upstairs, and I have a video camera pointed at the screen so I can see it from my desk. And again, if you go and check your email, I just sent you an email with a link. You can bring up the video of the link that I sent you. It's live and in real time, and you can watch. You'll see my Mercury amp on this very transmission I'm making right now as I'm making it. You'll see my audio rack. You'll even see the output power from my HF Auto antenna tuner. Everything's right there on the live stream.
Okay, question for you. Why are you running it that way? I can think of some reasons why, but I'm just curious, why are you running it that way?
What do you mean? Like with the live stream?
No, why do you have the amp not actually where the radio is?
The orientation of the house, for one. Two, I'm also an audiophile, and I have lots of high power audio stuff running in the house. So for me to have all of the RF within 2 or 3 feet of where it enters the house, I end up with a lot less RF in the house. And the other side of I have a massive amount of electronics and wireless devices in my house. So I don't want as much of the RF from all the interference and RFI of everything in my house to my coax. So I run RG400 coax right from my antenna. And about 4 feet after it enters the house, it connects right to my antenna tuner. Now, I'm on the opposite end of the house. And like I said, I just connect through the network. And to protect all of my computer equipment and all of that, in case that ever gets hit with or lightning, between the radio, there is a little tiny switch that's like a business switch. Then there's a fiber cable that runs about 60 feet to my core switch. So there's no copper wire even between it and the rest of my computers. It's actually a complete optical fiber between. But that's what I do for a living. I'm a network engineer, so, rather utilize the digital end of it because you can't get RFI exposure or leakage or, it's just a whole lot more efficient in the modern era of electrical and wireless everything. And yeah.
I got it. Okay, that sounds cool. Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully this guy won't change his mind, and as soon as the other amp arrives, he'll sell me this one. It's real weird, Frank. I'm just on 20 meters, you rag chewing, and a conversation with someone, and I started moving the VFO around, and I heard two guys talking about the amplifiers, and one guy's asking the other guy, when's the other amp? He says, oh, it should be in less than a week. He says, I can't believe that this amp's coming in so fast, and the other one just arrived. He says, but when this one comes in, I'm selling it, and I'm like, oh, what are you selling?
Yeah, Roger Al. Yeah, well, like I said, Matt swears by them. And Peter, ZXG, bought one. He sold his ADB and he bought one, and Matt assembled it for him. They weren't, FCC approved, but now you buy them all together, from Texas. But Matt swears by it, and Matt knows his stuff, so you can't go wrong. And like I said, N1YNI, Kyle, one, he's very, very happy with it. So you're not the only one to buy a used one. And N1YNI, Kyle, his didn't have the plastic on it and everything. The guy, you had it for about, I think, either 6 months or a year to sell it. Why, I don't know. But, yep, I wouldn't be frightened, Al. If that's what you really want, I would go for it.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Frank. Really, I was buying... what is it? What's the amplifier? It starts with the A. I forget the name. But I was looking at that amp. Too. But then everyone started talking to me about these amps, and I started thinking about I'm getting older, and moving these tube amps around starting to become a challenge. So it'd be certainly nice to have a nice light amp that you can move around easy. And then it's also pretty nice not to have to tune. So started going this way instead. Oh, the ACOM. I started going this way instead.
Oh, this is way better than an ACOM.
Last night. It's $5,000-something, and it does have some issues. And the way I hear Matt talk and everybody else, I mean, I would go with the Mercury rather than... And a lot of guys on 160. A lot of guys on 160 are using the Mercury Lux. The one you're buying. And they all love them, Back to you, Matt.
Yeah, these are way better than the ACOM amps. I was looking at the ACOMs too. Not worth it. Not worth it. The only other one that I was considering was the Expert 1.5 amp there, and the other one that I was considering was that RF Kit amp. To this day, that would probably be the only other amp I would consider, but even now, I hear about a lot more issues with that RF Kit 2K amp than the Mercury 3. I've talked to probably 100 people on 75 meters, 40 meters, and 20 meters combined with a Mercury 3S, and I've never heard a complaint yet. I've never heard of anyone burning. I've read a few stories about people burning them up, but all of them were because they by accidentally threw 100 watts into it.
Yeah. I may look into doing that conversion to protect it from that. Then again, I may not. I don't know. I think I gotta dig into this. This radio's new too, so I gotta dig into this radio more too and find out. I may limit the wattage output in the radio itself, so I can never make that mistake.
That's exactly what I did. I run an SDR here, and for my radio, considered the power correction, yeah, it's basically a calibration. So now my 100% output on my radio, I have a 100-watt SDR. If I turn it up to 100, actually right now it's at 100% drive, and I'm seeing peaks of about 5.5 watts out.
Yeah, so I may do something like that. I can you on this. I'm trying to open up my email for some reason, and I can't get into my email tonight. I wanted to check out that live stream you got going on, but as soon as I can get into my email, I would do that.
Okay, well, the other way is if you just go to YouTube, in the search bar, type my call sign, N1MJF, and if you click on my channel, it's live right now. And if you subscribe, it adds a little kudos to my channel.
Hey, Matt, have you talked to Peter lately?
Yeah, he's been busy with Shirley, so I actually have, excuse me, over the past 6 months or so, I actually don't talk to him as often as I did, but I still talk to him once every other week or so. But Shirley's doing better. Definitely climb back up to full health. So that's definitely a happy thing. Pete's got a little something going on himself. So, yeah. You should give him a call.
Yeah, I will. Okay, thank you, Matt. Yeah, that's good. Sounds like pretty good news, so that's good to hear.
Hey, Matt, give me your call sign again. The last time you was typing on the wrong keyboard and nothing was coming up.
N1MJF, like November 1, Mike Juliet Foxtrot.
Got it. Or do I got it? M1MJS. I'm seeing a lot of things. Oh, what did I do? Oh. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of things, but I'm not seeing you. Why? I got your call sign wrong. November 1, Mike Juliet Sierra.
Letter is Foxtrot. Mike Juliet Foxtrot. It's like MFJ, but the J and the F are switched.
Got it.
And the little thing, you should see the Palstar AT Auto, the Mercury III with this little SunSDR sitting on top. Yep,
I see it. Now, what's this thing you want me to your little thing?
Oh, when you click on the channel, there's a button that says subscribe. If you click that, then it'll even let you know when I post something new. Because every time I'm on the radio, I start up the stream just so stations I work can go back, because the recordings are then there for pretty much ever. So you can go back at any time. You know, you can even send a link to someone. This is how my station sounds.
Doing it now.
Yeah, you can see a signal on the waterfall. Better than a signal report. I actually got the idea from a few other people. I was working online. I'm working on HF, just someone calling DX, and they're like, hey, by the way, check out my YouTube and go to this timestamp and the QSO and hear how you sound from Italy. And I was like, whoa, that's so cool.
Yeah. That is cool. I'll check that out. Cool. Cool. Yeah, you like that Palstar Auto Tuner? I'm not a big fan on auto tuners.
Well, then this might be the auto tuner that you may like. And the only reason why I say that is because I'm not a fan of because of the way they operate with the relays. They're really hard on finals. And this is an old school roller inductor air capacitor. It's there is the Palstar Auto Tuners that use a actual roller inductor and an actual air capacitor. They are slower than the ones with all the relays that can just cycle through things, but there's no spikes. There can't be a spike. Like even if right now I go over to the antenna tuner software and I tell it to make an adjustment, what it's doing is turning the roller inductor or the air capacitor with a stepper motor. So it's very smooth operation and much better for your radio or amplifier.
That's real nice. But let me ask you a question. Once it tunes it, do you have a way of shutting the tuner off? Because the other thing I don't like about auto tuners is I don't like. I seen an auto tuner actually start tuning from the rain, and I guess it changed the map, and the thing started tuning while my buddy was doing like 1,200 watts.
Yeah, and you know what? One with relays would probably pop your amplifier or really damaging the amp. But because this has a roller inductor, if this started doing a tune cycle right now, it wouldn't do that. It would be just like you reaching over and turning the knob on a manual tuner. Nice visual, because again, it's just turning a roller inductor. But if you think about that, if he wasn't watching his SWR, that means that when it started raining, his SWR went over what he told his auto tuner working at. So mine could start doing that. I can put it in a mode. If you're looking at the live stream, I'll get rid of my audio chain, and this is the full HF auto tuner on the bottom right. I can click it on manual, bypass, and if I click it to manual, it can't do it won't do anything at all by itself. I operate the inductor and capacitor manually. And yes, the live stream is usually about 10 or 15 seconds behind, like, actual reality.
Try to figure that out. Yeah, no, that's nice. I like that. And that was his problem. And I told him that many a times. I told him to set his buffer 1.6, but he had that thing down to like 1.2. So anything higher than a 1.2, and that thing went in the tune, and I'm like, there's just no need for that. Are you a big gamer, baby?
Not all right. So it's weird with me. So I'm not really a big video gamer, but yet I do have gaming systems. Just because I'm into high horsepower computing. I'm into sim racing, what it's called, racing simulators. So, I mean, I guess I don't really consider those games, because I'm not talking about like Forza or, you know, those really arcadey fake racing games. I play a lot of the very realistic, hyper-realistic racing simulator games. And I've built a racing simulator that's in my basement. If you go to my QRZ page and scroll all the way down, you'll see some better pictures than that little teaser photo that you saw at the top of the YouTube page.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I meant. I seen it. I know. I didn't mean video games, but yeah, no, that looks kind of nice. I have someone, a friend of mine, who's into the same thing on the flying. And I mean, he has a monitor like you wouldn't believe. I mean, he actually has a flight chair. I forget for what it is, but he actually has it from the plane mounted in his room in front of the computer.
Oh yeah. So my racing simulator is basically a corner of. Like I said, if you go to my QRZ page, scroll down, take a look, and there are people with flight simulator setups even bigger than my racing setup, and of course those are a lot more expensive setup because all of the flight controls and everything that they would put in. But that's my little side hobby. And hey, you might get a kick out of the mobile setup that I put together too on my QRZ. But hey, I'm not going to forget about Frank. N1YNI and KB1AWZ in the group. This is N1MJF.
Yeah, no problem, Matt. Just listening, and I'm glad. I'm so happy you came on. I was telling Al last night. I said, I wish Matt would come on, because he knows all about them Mercury tuners. He's had one 3 or 4 years, and, he assembled so many of them. Like that, you give him some information. And like I told Al, the good thing is Kyle bought one used, no problem at all, and they do a good job. He shoots a lot of DX, with the hex beam. And with the hex beam and the Mercury, oh my God, I mean, he does a great job. So, yep, all is well here. Al, a little bit later, if you want to go on 40, I got up and I don't know if you want to go on 7.255, the eCars channel, any place you want to go a little later, I'll be willing to try 40 with you.
Yeah, that's fine, Frank. I don't have an amp, but that's fine. And Frank, I was looking for a wall lot for that switch box. So I got a. I didn't think I had one, but I found one that matched up and it worked fine. So whenever you want to pick that up, you can pick it up. If I see you on Friday, you could grab it on Friday. Some reason, if I can't make it, the next time we do coffee or something like that, I will meet you there. Yeah, Matt, I considered at one time, and I'm not a big fan of auto tuners, but I considered at one time putting an auto tuner outside on my antenna. I have a 05 vertical, and I have a lot of coax, and that's an antenna. It's not a resonant antenna. It has a matching box on it, and you got to tune it. It plays fantastic, but given how much coax I have, and given the fact that I have to tune back, I was considering at one time putting a tuner right at the antenna, and get a much better performance. But I just didn't find anything out there that I trusted. Does that Palstar right there? Does that have the capability of remote tuning? Obviously, it must, because you, in a way, have it remote.
So not officially. And the way I have it remote is, and connected through the network is a little bit, we'll say non-standard. And the reason why I say that is there is a way in a software. The software I'm using now is made by a ham W1TR guy right over in Connecticut, actually. And Terry, I forget his last name. But that connects to a computer via a serial DB9 connector. But what I have is a serial DB9 to network adapter and then I just have to, I just connect it to, like I said, this switch right on the side of my radio, which then it connects fiber to my other switch.
Gotcha. A lot of work, because I will be mounting it in my shed, which is where the antenna is actually, I got a mask on the side of my shed. So I will be mounting it in the shed, but a lot of work to achieve that. I think I'll just keep things the way they are and put a little more fire in the coax.
But then with that, you really got to watch out, because the high SWR running across that coax, you're actually, turning a lot of that back into heat through the coax because of that. So, I mean, if you ever wanted to do it, I'm right up the road from you. Let me know. I'll show you what and how. The tuner would need 12 volt and 1 amp, of course, because, it does run stepper motors, not relays, so it does take a little bit more juice. I can show you the network adapter, and I could even go over with you what it would take to make it either wireless from there to your place, or or run a Cat5 cable, shielded Cat5 cable, because of the RF and the antennas in the backyard. I could definitely work with you on that. That's not a problem. I mean, like, it'd be something to do.
Yeah, I'll consider it. The other thing what's the name? ACOM, yeah, the amplifiers. They a remote tuner, 1500 watt remote tuner that mounts outside. I just don't know how good it is. I was looking at it, but I just don't know how good it is. The fact that the stepper is using inductors and capacitors for stepper motors, I kind of like that better. Yeah, maybe we'll think about it. Yeah, Frank, I don't care. The 40, that's fine with me. Like I said, I don't have an amp. Do you normally run an amp on 40?
Yeah, I don't have to, but I got it warmed up anyway. So I'm running that antenna that VJ made me, and it works pretty good. It out smashes the bazooka by a mile, the double bazooka. So yeah, whenever you that's going to be on, but whenever you want to do it, Al, whenever you want to try it a little bit, it's only 9:20, and I'm glad you're retaining all this information, because you'll have that amp in your hands before you know it. So that's good. Back to you, Al.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking of calling the guy up and telling the guy, hey, let's don't wait for the other amp to come in. Let's deal now, and then if the other amp doesn't come in, you could just refund me the money. He wants to do everything through PayPal, so I don't know. I may call him tomorrow. Let's just finalize it, and then for some reason, if you have a problem, you can always reimburse me.
Where does he live, Al?
Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, if it was close enough for driving, I would have already been in my car.
I know it. I thought it was up here in New England somewhere.
I just looked. 7257 is open down on 40 meters. There is a station on the frequency you mentioned earlier, Frank, 7255, but 7257 is open.
Okay, I'll meet you there. Could you go there, Matt?
Yeah, and that'll actually be kind of cool, because through the stream, you're actually fully, without going downstairs, without touching that tuner, and you won't. I don't even hit any button on the software. I disable the Mercury 3 amp. I just PTT line going to the Mercury 3 on the radio. Hit the PA button here, and then I just run a 10 watt CW tone until I see it finish with its tune cycle.
Okay, we'll go on 7257. 7257.
All right, I'll meet you guys there. N1YNI.
KB1AWZ, correct point.
N1MJF.
KB1AWZ. KB1AWZ.
N1MJF. You there, Frank? Looks like I'm... Oh, no, I got good drive.
N1MJF, KB1AWZ.
Yeah, I'm here, Frank. How copy? You got a good copy on me?
Yeah, no problem, Matt. No problem at all. How do you copy me?
Yeah, not bad. I mean, there's definitely some something giving some static crashes on the band, that's for sure. Probably some lightning off somewhere within the 500 miles. But definitely copy good enough for a contact.
Yeah, no problem, Matt. You're very readable. A little noisy, like you said. Either static going on. I'm going to a straight tune-up. About 350 watts, over.
Yep, and I see someone tuning up, so I bet we'll have Al moment.
Yeah, I don't know what to do though.
Yeah, you out there, Al?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening to you, Frank. Not radio, but I think we're both talking at the same time too.
Yeah, Matt's good at them things, I'll tell you. One night he sent me some so that I was talking all night long and I could hear what I sound like.
Well, you can do it again tonight. I'll send you the link in a little bit.
Anytime.
Matt, I had to shut the computer off because I was listening. To Frank through the computer rather than the radio.
The 15-second delay gets you. What I usually do is I just hit the mute on the video and listen to it live. But it's kind of as long as I keep in mind 15 seconds later, that's what it looked like. Because I do that talking in a big group actually earlier today. There was a bunch of guys on 75 meters, and we're all running the same streams. So yeah, I've done that confusion many a time.
Yep. Now, Frank, what are you on? You're on the wire antenna right now? Matt, you're on a wire too?
Yeah, wire.
On a wire antenna.
I'm on the Alpha Delta DXCC, but mine is set up as a sloper.
With no problem. I almost got to attenuate the signal. Frank, you're only because you're on the wire and I'm on the vertical, so I imagine I'm down too. Can you hear me though?
Yeah, I copy you. Not too strong, but I copy you, Al. No problem at all.
You can hear me. That's all that matters.
Yup, that's all that matters. Is right. I could retune, but I'll do that at a later time, you know. But I'm going through the Drake tuner and the 811. I'm running about 350, 375, you know. And I'm using an old Yaesu FT840 with a Shure 444 decimite.
Yep, you sound good. And still active as all hell. I'm looking at the waterfall and there's people talking everywhere.
Roger.
Matt, what's radio? Because on the screen that almost looks like a fleck.
It's not a radio I'd really suggest, but it's a radio that I bought into probably about 4 years ago now. It's called the SunSDR2. It was made by a company in Russia, which for a while, all the way up until about the war started, they actually support and they were adding a lot of features to it and whatnot, but it's gone a little bit stale since then.
Oh yeah, well I can see why.
All in all, you know, it's a halfway decent radio, especially I bought it as a pre-order about a year before it was in production. So I think I paid $1,600 for it, and you know, being a HF 6-meter in 2-meter SDR, I at least got a good value for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I don't know, of course, if it worked or not. I tried to send my audio directly to that when we were switching from 20 meters to 40, so I could kind of narrate over without transmitting. But you could see when I tuned it up, and then you could also see when I just keyed up and you could watch the amp then detect the RF and switch from 10 meter to 40 meter. I don't, you know, that's full, that there's no CAT communication, data communication, that's full RF sense. The only thing with the amp is you just hook the coax to it and a push to talk line, and that's it. It figures out the band, it's always on auto. And even on these long overs, you watch the temperature is what, 2 degrees? And like I said, it's just as quiet as a normal desktop computer.
Yeah, you must need a TX to ground, no, and ALC.
Well, my radio doesn't really have ALC, and you know, I can't remember. I don't think the amp may not even have ALC input. I mean, you just hit a push to talk to it and ground. I mean, yeah, ground and coax and push to talk. There's no communications though, nothing like that. You know, like I said, band select is all done through RF detect.
Wow, doesn't get much simpler than that. Now, I was looking at a video where you could put it on auto or manually select the band. You feel pretty safe with the RF?
I have never once used the manual select because it's on a different floor. While you can see the screen on my live stream, that's about as good as I'm seeing right here sitting out. I have a camera, just a really cheap network camera that I have on like a stick in front of the amp, just staring at the screen, and operate it from here. I actually have a little adapter on the outlet that I can trigger, and basically from upstairs, I do the equivalent of just unplug the power and plug it in. It's the only function I have of it up here, and I never go down, I never touch anything on it. And that's how I've been operating it for years. I've never operated that amp while sitting in front of it once. And that's just a station, a place to sit or anything where I have my radio set up.
Right, I gotcha. Yeah, there's so many things now. I could buy a plug now and install it and turn it on and off on my phone. There's some crazy stuff out there now. Frank, what antenna are you on right now?
Al, I got a phone call. I'll get right back to you.
Roger.
So, home devices, I make my own, like from scratch. That's one of my little hobbies.
Yeah, nice. We do. We just did a whole house on our friend, and every single switch in his house, every single plug in his house is all programmable. We have all different scenes set up with the switch. And he had a lot of different scenes. In his bedroom, he has an 8-position switch. One turns on every light outside the house. The other one turns on the bathroom light, the hallway lights. The other one turns the hallway lights, the stairwell lights, and the kitchen lights downstairs if you're getting a snack. We programmed that whole thing. It took us literally about 5-6 hours to set up everything. This house. Maybe 6 months, and he's calling me up. He has everything screwed up. The biggest mistake I made was I left him the remote, and he started playing with everything. He had nothing. So he had to go back up. The good thing was we had everything inside the laptop. So when we went back up there, it took like 5 minutes. But yeah, there's a lot of. Hey. There's even stuff. They got solenoid valves now. When the house is being built, that you can add to your bathtub. Where on the way home you could start the bath, get it ready for you by the time you get home.
Yeah, it looks like we're picking up some listeners on the stream. It looks like someone from Middletown. I haven't looked it up on, so I don't know her name, but we have some listeners on the stream. KB1AWZ. But anyway, yeah, back to that. Yeah, no, actually, I got sidetracked.
Yeah, you all set?
So the smart home things, I actually make my own sensors and everything. They make them. I mean, PC board up. Nothing that I do connects to Alexa or Google or any cloud. I can operate it from my phone anywhere, from anywhere, but I do all of mine 100% ground up by myself. I have my own server enclosure here. I have business internet connections, so I host all my own stuff, top to bottom.
Nice, that's good. I'm not a big fan of Alexa. I'm not a big fan of any open mic in my house. But I'm looking at that thing there, and it looks like you have a lot a lot of audio gear there. Are you running all that through your mic?
Yeah, there's a external. I run an ART. Well, for one, I got the Electro Voice EV RE320 mic. I run that into an ART voice channel and then into the computer. And after the computer, in here to BBE sonic maximizer, harmonic maximizer, loudness maximizer. I add a little tape saturation. This is a little high-end enhancer, Q. And then it goes into the radio. And, you know, there's no wires at all between what you see here in the radio. And you can make this a little bigger. I do believe. Yeah, you can see more of it now. But yeah, of course, what I'm saying over the radio now, you'll see in a few seconds. But that's my virtual audio rack that I run. So that's what I was saying. I run the amps, you know, pretty hard when it, you know, in terms of the amount of compression and everything. I mean, you can see it even on my fall when I'm transmitting on my audio. You know, I have like 4 layers of compression and exciters going. So for maximum RF, it actually, you know, I find that with more processing and the more the more constant I can get this signal to stay up, the more DX you know, the better I cut through pile-ups on DX, and you know, I don't know. That's really what I like.
Yeah, your audio right now is definitely set up for that. Yeah, it's definitely set up for that. So I guess you like playing. I am running a handheld stock mic that came with the radio. Now that's not normally what I run. My 9000, I had a electro voice on it. I actually like the electro voice better. But this is a brand new radio, and I haven't bought a mic for it yet. So, and I don't know what I'm going to buy. I'm kind of up in the air. Yaesu makes a nice mic with 2 cartridges in it, and it's kind of cool looking. I don't know how good it is. I've never been a big fan of any Yaesu, ICOM, or Kenwood mic. I kind of always went with studio mics, but that mic just looks so good. I may buy it and I run it through the equalizer in the radio and see what kind of results I get.
Yeah, I think anything's better than a stock mic. But that's just me. I don't know. As you can tell, like, I got the high power output and lots of compression, but I still also try to keep it sounding. My voice outside of the radio is actually a little bit deeper than what you're hearing. I'm cutting off a lot of low end from my voice, and that's because, you know, if I just go with any mic directly, I get it's hard to understand me with any static. I'm sure, you know, Frank, him and I been working on HF for years. He'll probably contest to that if I'm down in the mud, it's my voice. So, you know, the way you hear me on my stream and over the radio, it's more like me if I was in person, if I was holding my nose.
Yeah, I got you. And I can hear that in the mic. There's very little lows. You got a lot of highs, but you got it set up for DXing. Plus, if your natural voice has a lot of lows in it to begin with, you don't want to add more. I can never find a happy medium for me. For me, I like that nice, warm broadcast sound. But then again, that sound was never good for DXing, so I ran 2 mics on my other radio. 2 totally different setups on the EQ. Because I had 1 mic in the front and 1 mic in the back of the radio, and both of them had separate EQs. But no, right now, the way you got your mic set up right now, if you DX, then you got it set up perfect, because that's definitely going to break through.
Yeah, and with all the compression, it keeps the power output. I mean, if I talk soft or I talk loud, the audio level going into the radio is exactly the same. I mean, I could yell or whisper, and it's the exact same dB level. But the thing I have to look out for is the background noise behind me. But that's why I have a couple noise gates, a noise gate and an expander, work help try and tame the background noise. But I'm sure you can hear that too. The second I stop for a brief moment, like there's no audio, it's like I unkeyed, and every once in a while it will chop my words. But it's all a balance, as anyone knows, and it's fun. I change it up. I mean, even yesterday my audio chain was a little bit different. I added a couple things in it today.
Yeah, everything's a compromise. Actually, I don't hear it that much. It's not that bad at all. If you did it, bring it to my attention. Never heard it.
Yeah, it looks like we got an accuser directly under us. Just shrunk my filter. Anyway, Frank, how are you doing over there? It's been a few times I feel like I'm hogging it over here. KB1AWZ and N1YNI, and this is N in the group.
KB1AWZ, yes. I got a call from my brother. I'm all set now.
Everything okay, Frank?
Yeah, everything's okay, Al. No problem. Yep.
Oof, I will say those static crashes are getting pretty consistent, almost constant. I'm going to go look at the lightning map and see if it's lightning, where it is.
Yeah. I scoped the 3D, and I had to go back to the waterfall because the crashes just fill up the whole scope.
Rain all day tomorrow.
Yeah, well, it looks like this lightning right now, holy crap, there is a huge plot of lightning, massive lightning, right at the southern tip of Lake Michigan. There's also some lightning in Pennsylvania line, but I think what we're hearing is the southern Michigan, and that's about the biggest and most active lightning blob I've ever seen.
Well, better there than here. You still have those guys listening?
What's that, Al?
Now, it doesn't matter if he still sees those guys.
Yeah, last time I checked, it said there was a few listeners. I mean, it's what it does. Some people, even I find, are, some DX stations that can't hear us on these bands. Even just random SWLers. But again, that's why I like it. I like doing it. It kind of more expands the hobby a little bit.
The nice thing about this hobby, there's something for everybody. No matter climber who still wants to, load up the Collins S line, or if you're someone like you who, who likes playing with the computers, this hobby has everybody. Frank, what antenna are you on right now?
I'm on the dipole that Joe made me. It's running parallel to my driveway, Al, but the dog bone's only up not even 20 feet.
is that a big deal?
No, it's between my house and my daughter's. It's not 40 meters. BJJ made it about 10, 15 years ago.
No, I got you. My question was, can you switch over to the off-center fed? Or is that...
That's a good question, Al. Al, I could switch over and run no amp. You got a few minutes? I could run no amplifier.
Yeah, go ahead. It wouldn't be an honest AB. I was kind of curious to see how that performed against the 40-meter dipole. Switch over anyways. I'm kind of curious, but without the amp, it's going to be hard to make a comparison.
No, it ain't hard. It ain't hard. Give me a couple of minutes. I'll be right there. 257. Okay, give me 2 minutes.
Roger. Yeah, I'm looking at those static non-stop.
If you still buy your computer, Lightning Maps, plural, so lightningmaps.org, O-R-G. You check it out for yourself. As they pop, you'll see the little red rings, they pop. Those are from RF lightning detectors that are strategically all around. I used to contribute to it. I used to have one of the lightning detectors.
Nice, wow. I got it up now. That's a big cluster right there.
That's about one of the largest I've seen in a long, like, a named hurricane or something.
Yes. Wow. Well, that's all the noise I'm hearing, but what can you... I still got a lot of work to do in this shack. I don't know if Frank told you. I've been off the air for quite some time. I just started getting back on the air. Really wasn't in quite some time, and then I had a hip surgery that went bad. Actually, I should have said that. The hip surgery went fine. They stretched my femoral nerve, and I wasn't able to pick up my leg for 4 months. So I was stuck in the house for 4 months, wasn't able to drive, wasn't able to walker, bored out of my mind. And I started saying, boy, I wish I had my shack set up. So as soon as I started being able to walk and stuff again, I started setting the shack back up.
Yeah, that'll definitely do it. And that's also an advantage with your setup here. I mean, honestly, if I was, if there's a situation like that, any computer that's connected on my network, can connect to my radio, and I can just operate the radio. I am here. My audio won't sound as good, but that is what it is. I could even operate it from my phone.
Yeah, pretty soon, Yezu's coming out with a control that you'll be able to operate it remote through the internet. And you won't even need a computer. You got literally from the router into the controller, and that's it. So once they come up with that, I'll probably buy it. I don't think I will ever use it, but for that you're talking about, like if I ever ended up where I can't get downstairs for whatever reason, I'll be able to just open up the laptop upstairs and do the same thing. Yeah, Frankie, go back to the other antenna. I don't know if it's the amplifier or a combination of the amplifier, but go back to the other antenna because you're right in the noise. Matt, can you hear him?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think we got some like DX coming in or something. All I could barely hear under the static. But yeah, maybe if those static crashes weren't there tonight. But with those static crashes, that's I don't think that's happening with that antenna.
No, he doesn't have the amp on. Frank, go back to the other antenna. We're waiting for you. Matt, how long did you live in Coventry?
I'm actually in East Greenwich, but I mean, I'm on such a fine line between it being Coventry, East Greenwich, West Greenwich, because I'm like right by Carr's Pond. But I've been here for years now. Before that, I was in Wakefield for about. Oh, we're going on 7 years here. Before that, I was in Wakefield for about 5 years, and prior to that, Warwick my whole life.
Okay. Next year, you should stop by the Coventry EMA for field day. Just stop by and say hello. Frank comes down. Well, he used to come down. I haven't seen him in a couple of years. But it's a good group of guys. We have a good time. A lot of operating. Actually, this year we took first place in the country for EMAs.
Yeah, I think I actually did stop by there a long time ago. Many years ago with Chris, W1CJF, Chris Fody, to say hello to Frank and the gang while they were working. I haven't really done anything field day in a long time. I used to do things with the good old PRA, but done anything in, like I said, for field day in a long time. I may do that though. Stop by and say hello. Always looking for things to do. To get out of the house.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I think those static crashes scared everybody away from 40 meters. I'm looking at the waterfall and all those signals first started talking, they're not there now.
Oh, yeah. The band does look like it's dying down, for sure. I did zoomed in quite a bit. But, well, it's pretty noisy. It's between 200 and 300 crashes per minute. That's the highest counter I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see if Frank's back. Frank, you back on the other antenna yet? Yeah, I think he switched antennas and radios. I think he had to go to another whole radio, so. Then I gotta pull the cord. I gotta get up for the first time in a long time. I gotta get up early and head out to work. They just released me the drive. Tuesday they gave me the thumbs up and says you could drive. Although, yeah, I've been driving 2 weeks before they told me I could drive. So now that means I gotta go to work.
Well, I'll definitely have to wish you luck on that, and yeah, I don't envy that at all. I've been home for I don't know, 7 years, 6 or 7 years, about as long as I've been living here. But yeah, I definitely don't foresee myself going back into offices every day, at least. But yeah, you kidding me, Frank? Switch an antenna on a radio? He's got one antenna for each radio. He doesn't switch. Yeah. Only we have antenna switches and things like that. He's got a radio for every antenna.
N1YNI.
Hey, there he is. I don't know what Frankie has more of, radios or antennas. He has a lot of both.
Hey, Al, it wouldn't work right. I couldn't even hear you I was on the Pro, 746 Pro, 34-foot center fed dipole, but you dropped way down. I could hardly hear you on that. So this antenna, this dipole, works better on 40 meters than the off-center fed out.
It seems that way, Frank. Big difference between this one and that one.
Yeah, yep. I just gotta get a good external speaker. That's what I gotta get. I tried headphones. Good. I gotta look for my IO headphones.
What do you need, a speaker or headphones?
Right now I'm using a speaker, external speaker.
Yeah, and what's wrong with that?
It's okay. I just thought maybe, I wear hearing aids and I have trouble wearing the headphones, I'm defeating the purpose. But this setup is the best for me right now.
Okay. I was waiting for you to get back in. I gotta pull the ripcord. I actually have to go in. So that means I gotta be up for 6 o'clock.
All right, Al. Yep, and I'll see you Friday, hopefully. Then if you can't make it, we'll have coffee. Okay. Yeah, just let me know. I'll call you Thursday night if I don't catch you tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's fine. If you're doing coffee, let me know. Hey, it was nice talking to both of you guys. We got to do this. We got often. Do you get on 10 meters too?
Yeah, I'm on 10 meters. I'm all over HF. Whatever band is good at whatever time, but I usually check 28-400 in the evening and, looking for Frank and the rest of the locals crew. I don't have access to 160 meters. Don't have a dipole big enough for there. Pretty much 80 meters to 10 meters, I'm all over it.
All right, great. Well, I've been trying to get on every night with Frank on 10 meters, so I'll probably hear you there. Now I'll stay in touch and let you know how I make out with that amp, and I'll check out your website from time to time too. Frank, I'll talk to you later on. 73s and N1YNI.
All right, Al. Well, yep, no problem, buddy. Yeah, over to you, Matt.
Yeah, I'm probably going to run myself. I've been sitting here a while. I've actually been working, talking on the radio probably 6 o'clock-ish. Had a couple little gaps, but been here more than not since about 6. So voice is even starting to get a little bit worn out, but really great hearing you, and I look forward, I'll check the band tomorrow night and see if you're, if you're there. But back over to you, KB1AWZ, N1MJF.
Okay, Matt, thank you very much. I appreciate all that information you gave my buddy Al. Yep. Oh, I was glad you came on. Matt, about that Mercury. Very good, Matt. Have a good next time. We're going to say 7-3s and we'll be signing clear. KB1AWZ will be clear with N1NJS. Have a good night, Matt.
Yeah, you as well. Have a good night, and all good night. N1MJF, QRT.
KB1AWZ, QRT.